Good evening, everybody. I am the Ragnarok Ranger from the Ragnarok Theory, coming to you again from the bunker. This is part 2 of beginning of the end that I started last week. So, a few points I'm going to cover today. So a bit about grid down, slide chains and stuff, and then all the unusual animals and a bit of WROL. And that's what we're going to look at today, and then we'll progress that a little bit next week. So, grid down. When I started this last week, I said we're not going to look at a particular grid down scenario. Grid's gone down, let's not worry about why. Let's start thinking about the consequences of what this means. So, the lights have gone out, the heating's gone off, we've got no toilets, we can't cook, the supply chain stops, fuel stops. Right? We've kind of got the gist of that. That's bog standard. That would happen, yeah, in this kind of a situation. If it goes on long enough, basically, after 3 days, supermarkets are going to be out of food and fuel. Places like Asda, unless rationing gets put in place quick enough to preserve that. Okay, when we get to this stage, what we're talking about, though, where there's no fuel coming through, there's the supply chain stop, the food's running out, right? We've seen this before during riots. Looting begins. Now, looting is random. People haven't got a plan. They haven't gone out saying, oh, right, we need 10 tins of beans, 10 tins of this, right? They're going out more looking for high value things. So you need to stay out of that. Going and fighting in the supermarkets and the shops over new TVs and stuff is going to be pointless, right? It's the food that's going to become important, and you can probably bet that the ones that are least sensible will be running to the toilet roll and, and stuff like that, and maybe tin produce, but they'll only be taking the things that they would normally eat. So it leaves you a small window there to grab yourself things they may not be looking for, like your lentils, your mixed beans, and anything that they normally wouldn't eat, tinned vegetables, yeah, anything that is going to give you calories, you know what I mean? So their little pots of jelly, whatever, things that other people aren't going for, flour, rice, pasta, you know, there's just a chance you might pick some of that up on Slack, right? Because looting at this point it'd come down on them quite hard, because it wouldn't be like a normal riot. This is total collapse, the government losing control. Okay, and they're not going to like that, not at all. But then all the usual animals come out, yeah. So, like we say, the looters, the ones that just want to cause mischievousness, and they don't really appreciate what is actually happening at this point in time. So they're just going through the motions of doing what they always do best, which is very little of any use. Okay. And when I talk about the usual animals, okay, if you go to a zoo, you'll expect to see lions or leopards and tigers and monkeys, yeah. And then if you go to something a bit more specific, you might see the things like wolves that you don't see at every zoo and stuff like that, yeah. They're not a usual animal, right? So when you put humans on the spectrum of animals, because that is what we are, right? Most people during normal times, yeah, are restrained by law or fear of persecution from others, right? So we stick to social norms. Most of us stick to social norms. That is not how we are hardwired. It's what we've become so that we can live in a civilized society. I know we don't at the moment, but the semblance of one. Right? Where it really starts to change now is when we hit WROL, without rule of law, right? Law enforcement, initially, I think in these situations will be thrown on the street, and it'll be viable, and they'll be trying really hard to control what is an animal that is not going to be controlled. They're soon going to break down. And how long is it going to be before them police officers that are trying to do the best to control everything realise that their families are in danger and they need to go home and look after their families? Yeah. Even the army on the streets, it's just like at some point some of them are going to think, this is for a game of soldiers, I'm off home to my wife and kid. I need to look after them if no one else is gonna. Okay, so the further down the scale we go, the less rule of law we've got, the more animalistic people are going to become. Okay, so even if there's still some sense of law enforcement, let's have a look at a couple of realities. We've got some really bad people out there. We have got them already. And this is during what we call normal times, and they're already really naughty or really bad, really evil, call them what you want, right? Once the law is not coming for them, they're going to get worse. So whatever their fix is, whatever their vice is, they're going to pursue that with gusto. So if that's going out, stabby Joeing, then that's what they're going to do, because there's less chance of them getting caught. Okay, most of the CCTV operators by now are probably at home looking after their families. So there's very little chance of consequence at that point in time. And depending how far down the scale of devolution the human race goes, will depend whether there ever was going to be a consequence. So another thing, when you think about prisons running electronic gates, there's locks are electric, there's all sorts of connotations there where it's like prisoners are going to end up being able to walk out of jails, especially open prisons and stuff like that, right? So even more bad people are suddenly going to be out there, where they'd probably be more sensible staying in jail and trying to make use of the system while they could. That chance of freedom and that sense of freedom that they'd get by able to come out and to walk out into a society where again they are now unrestrained. So whatever they were in jail for, if it was really bad and anti-human, that again is a road that these people are going to go straight down, because they'd be free to do so. And then there's desperate people who wouldn't normally dream of crossing these lines back to the primal state of the human mind and the human psyche, which is quite dark to us now, right? But desperation drives people to do very, very seriously odd things. When you know the billion Joanne next door, right, really, really old, and they've got loads and loads of food, and you've got little kids, and you're nearly dead, right, you're going to go and take it, aren't you? You'll say you won't now, I know you'll say you won't now, but you will, right? Because the survival instinct is survival, and your instinct will tell you things like, oh, they're old, they're not going to last this out anyway, we can make better use of that. Yeah, and your mind starts to justify the actions that you're talking yourself into. So it's not that you just go, oh, I have a lovely present, right? It's just like, it's this demise. It's like things get harder. There's no food. Baby won't stop screaming. Dog's barking because dog's hungry, and you don't want to eat your dog yet because you're not that desperate. Right, that's another reality, isn't it? Oops, doggy's losing a back leg when you're all starving, whether you like it or not. Yeah, because the human survival instinct is just inbuilt, and it will kick in at some point. Okay, primal urges that for hundreds of years now, the human race has suppressed again, so we can grow as a society and actually live with some degree of respect and hope. Yeah, all these things just break down. Then there's the zombies, and I don't mean zombies like in The Walking Dead, zombies dead that have come back to life. I'm on about your druggies, your people that are just totally out of their depth now, and they're just not, it's just like they've had total meltdown and just can't function. Zombies, right? But in groups, these people can turn quite vicious and pack animal orientated. It only takes one leader to pull these people together, and they will follow, because people are sheeple, and especially when the sheeple think that the alpha wolf that they're following is going to get them what they want. Okay, so then primal urges of the darkest, deepest human psyche start to come back to the fore. People who might have been so placid and so nice suddenly are willing to do horrendous things to stay alive and to keep those that they love alive. And then these are the victims that we know so well. So again, the zombies, the victims, it's like if they're isolated or people who are just too nice and haven't got to the stage yet where they can transcend to this new being you'd have to become to survive these kind of circumstances. These are going to be the victims. These are the ones that are going to get run over first. These are the ones that are going to get robbed. These are the ones who are not going to survive. But finally they're going to be gone. There's going to be none left. Yeah. So then it's down to the strong will survive. And when you think about the connotations that come with that, when you think about the possibilities, it's like, because at the moment we've built a world up where men and women are a lot more equal now than they ever were, and different races now live together in some semblance of harmony in most parts of the world and the country. All these kind of things break back down because there's no one telling you to do this anymore. Yeah, so I don't know, a female who was an MMA fighter, yeah, is still a strong woman and has got some level of defence about her, and like still being able to function in this level. But then you're going to get the other kinds of females that don't function like that, because there are still some people out there that depend on family units, and that's how they function in life. So from this episode, what you should be doing is look at yourself, look at the people around you, look at the way you live, look at the situation you live in. What do you think could be important to you in dark times like this? How would you survive? How would your family survive? What can you do now to promote your chances of survival? Okay, and that's what we're going to look at next week. We're going to go into survivability, okay, in these situations, and what you can do to hopefully come out the other side. We don't prepare to survive, we prepare in case we survive. Survival is an instinct. Instinct is everything. Stay safe out there, take care, and I'll see you all after.